Appreciate the turnout today, and I hope it's a lot bigger next week when we're at Pebble Creek. I think the primary thing that Tom and I wanted to talk to you about today is the retreat that's coming up next week. We want to talk to you a little bit about the process and what's been done up to now getting ready for the retreat. But I think you'll find when you look at the agenda for next week, after we get beyond our core values and our mission, etc., we've got to really get focused on what some key goals are. And then after we get that done, we've got to focus on what action steps is going to be necessary to accomplish those goals. And at the end of the session next week, I also want to talk about some key questions that we may want to throw out that perhaps wasn't covered in the breakouts and also in the discussion of the goals and action steps. And so what we want to do today primarily is just talk to you about the process. You know, we started this when, Tom, last December?
December 22nd.
And there's been a lot of effort by Tom and his committee and all of you since then, and I appreciate that very much. But the message I want to leave with you today is this is very serious. I'm committed to it, and I hope you will, before the process is over, also be committed to it, because this is not something that can be top down. This has got to be something that the faculty and the staff and eventually the graduate students buy into. We've got to make this real. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and let Tom talk about the process.
First thing I want to do is thank Dr. Cross for this opportunity to serve the department. The committee is enjoying this and getting to know a lot more people in more depth than we knew them previously. So I think that's one of the benefits that's going to come out of this retreat, since it is involving on-campus, off-campus personnel. There are people who have been hired over the years with less meetings on campus. I think we're not getting to know as many people as we used to. Parts of this activity you know about because you've been getting lots of emails from me and from your other committee members who are involved in the themes that were developed. Theme teams. We did not use the standard terminology of research, teaching, and extension because the themes were certainly cross-cutting in some ways, but we knew that we had to start with assessing what is our mission and the core values. And that was another series of questions that the whole faculty were polled on, and we've gotten some more responses about that. And the other themes you recollect were with respect to the structure and function. Innumerable times Dr. Cross has asked section leader meetings, he said at faculty meetings, what's the purpose of a section? Do we need to reconsider this? Can we be more efficient? And so that was one of the groups that came about. And that group, in a little while, Chris Kurth will say a few things about what that group has learned from responses. And another theme was discovery and generation of new knowledge. That's one of the ideas that research is supposed to be doing, is helping generate new knowledge for education and translation of that knowledge. And the coordinator, oh, sorry, I got that backwards. Jason Clare was the structure function team leader. Chris was their research leader. And then the other activity was scholarly and professional development of students was a theme. And Tryon Wickersham has been coordinating that and has sent out pretty interesting survey and got responses back on that. And Dr. Hale took the lead for working with everyone on dissemination, translation, and knowledge. So those are the themes we came up with, but then it wasn't just going to be this gang of 8 running all these topics. And so that's why you've been inundated with emails from different groups. We asked people, what do you want to work on? We knew these themes. We got responses, built a roster, and we wanted to have our roster as cross-hybridized by research, teaching, extension, off-campus, on-campus. We have an undergraduate advising office is involved in activities too. So we have everyone assigned. So some people say, why am I on that committee? I should be on this committee. Right, so why is that research guy telling me how to do extension work? It wasn't the idea, but it was trying to get another perspective. Right, so that was our outset on that. Try to balance across sections as much as you could. So we had, I think, 58 people assigned to different committees. This week, the coordinator has been receiving and tabulating, putting together the data that's so-called data that's come in, so that those ideas will be discussed at length by everyone next Tuesday. And we're expecting that the team you're on, you would report to that team when those go into breakout groups at the session on Tuesday. And understand from the room discussion, description, that Grace and Courtney have made a scouting trip to Pebble Creek. It's a large rectangular room, so it sounds like we're going to probably have our breakout groups will be in your respective corner. And that'll give you time where you can go from one group to another as topics develop, or if there's a need to get input from one of the associate heads on a particular topic, there'll be ready access. Right? So we do thank you for all the input you've made to this point, and don't stop now. This is the first step. There was no intention, and I had heard that some people thought that this plan would be to develop this plan. The plan was to have a one-day meeting, we'd be done, but that can't be feasible, of course. So Dr. Cross is committed to this. At the end, there's going to be other teams, other groups have to pursue this, and he has talked this morning about at our upcoming monthly faculty meetings, that this will be a topic every time to monitor our implementation of these action plans and strategies to success. So maybe be worth looking a little bit at this schedule. Grace is organized with Pebble Creek through Dr. Cross's credit card that there'll be breakfast, full breakfast. So they were going to work on the time. Is 7:45 still accurate? Okay. So the times may change, but it's going to be food for you when you get there. The intent is to promote interaction with personnel, with individuals or colleagues, more informal discussions, and pursue that. And then we'll break into our, get everyone together again, because we have people who there's only about 35 people here, but we have expecting 58, so everyone to hear again a little bit from Dr. Cross about the seriousness of this activity and his commitment to make it succeed. And then he'll introduce Ms. Donaldson and Mr. Page, and they will give us some advice on how to interact with one another, and they have ways to draw information out of people, as professional facilitators should. So there won't be 58 pairs of eyes staring at whoever the coordinator is that day. Based on the responses I've received as the coordinator of the core values and core purpose information, my intention is to amalgamate those that are still coming in, get that to the whole faculty this week, the whole department email list this week, so you have in your mind what are your colleagues thinking is the mission of this department, what may be some visionary things to pursue, and reiterating what the definitions of core values are. Right, so you might have noticed some of those. I mean, we put in that document, some of them, every one of the ones that the university has as core values was listed. And then there are others that our members have submitted. So you might go look at the soccer stadium and you see the Aggie core values are listed across the top. Excellence, integrity, selfless service, those kind of things. So people mentioned that. So we need to know what our mission is and what our forevermore core values before we go into establishing goals in the breakout teams and working with those other 150 items that have come in or so per team. So we'll spend an hour and a half or so discussing that. But then we will have to come back and after hearing what people have presented, have discussion, and then the group will make some voting, balloting, consensus. Some way we'll come to a working core purpose and mission statement. That'll help send the breakout groups after lunch. Send the breakout groups, have our full lunch, sit-down lunch. Pebble Creek has us seated at 8 people per table. And so the lunch will be delivered to us. No buffet for that one. Then the breakout groups will dig into these items that each coordinator has amalgamated their comments. And that's where we have to start thinking about goals, 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 goals. Not too many goals. I said goals, 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 but not too many goals because they have to be manageable and achievable, but don't make them so low that they're easily achievable. Right? Have some longer reaching goals too. And a lot of those kind of ideas were sent in by your emails to the different coordinators. We're hoping also in this exchange that more people besides this gang of 8 will want to join more officially on some teams that are going to have to develop the action steps on the later, not the first day, later, the second day. Just to reiterate, those 4 breakout groups in the morning would be from our theme teams, the ones that you've been assigned to. The core values team is everybody. So there's no breakout group for core values. It's the start in the morning when the whole assemblage is there. So by the end of Tuesday afternoon, what we're hoping to have is closer to finalizing some goals. So on the second day and overnight, in these refreshment break at the end of Monday afternoon, maybe some people start thinking about some ways to have action steps, but not too detailed that first day for that kind of thinking, as Dr. Cross just said. There is an hour and a half listed end of Monday afternoon on the next page where we have reception at Pebble Creek, but more talking with colleagues. And in some groups, we have people from out of town will be in, people based out of Brazos County will be present, so it'd be a good time to go to dinner and groups could meet and discuss what happened that day and get ramped up for the next day and pursuing these a little more industriously the next day. Beginning, and I didn't remember, was it pastries for the next morning or is it full breakfast again? Lighter day. Good. Good. Okay, so we still have some refreshments to get started, more dialogue, coffee for those that need that to get rolling. And then David Page, each of these steps, David Page will be involved when our big groups are together, and he and Jill are going to roll around to the small groups and keep promoting activities. But the first morning, he's going to summarize what we did the day before and remind us what we think was our consensus goals. And if there's more thought process that came into play, you got another idea, you got a concern, there's a time that we can modify what we thought were our goals from the day before. And then the breakout groups will go again into starting to pursue. We have 2 sessions for that. We want to have ample time up to a lunch hour, so in the morning we can get our action steps pursued. And this is also a time where people can start sliding from group to group probably. We haven't made it hard and fast, so you cannot leave your group and go to another group. It may be important. We may even send emissaries from one group to another. We do have cross-cutting topics that we need to think about that. So that's kind of to be developed. And then in the afternoon, originally I had typed this up to end at lunch, and Dr. Cross and Mr. Page said, wow, you probably need more time. There's going to be a need for people to have more discussion, more open discussion, and you just mentioned other open discussion, key questions that we probably need to have. But towards the end, people want to know, so you got a plan, who's going to write it up? A small team will have to write that up. Who's going to monitor success, implementation, those things? We're hoping that more people want to be involved in that, and somehow, based on the structure discussion of the department, maybe that'd be a good job for associate department heads to be involved in too. And then Mr. Page he likes to bring things into perspective for us, and I think part of his task or his responsibility for being hired for this is that he helps with some of the summary and the writing, and we'll help promote that.